YouTube, what's up? This is how to play the FOH Smiter build. I started with Hammered In, but the playstyle was just clunky, and it took a while for the hammers to spin up. The build was very strong and tanky, but it felt slow. Although it was strong in P8, it just didn't fit my playstyle. The FOH build is perfectly suited for places that I like farming, like Chaos, Arcane, and Worldstone Keep. After many hours of playtesting, this is the setup that worked best for me. It's been pretty much the consensus online that you only need to max the Fist of the Heavens and the Holy Bolts. You do not need to go into Holy Shock and Conviction to boost the lightning damage side. The build plays well and has great AoE with the Holy Bolts, but versus bosses, it's pretty slow. This is where the Smite comes in. Because you have all these extra points left over, you can max out Smite to handle the boss side. I will go over the gear in the Merc Setup, the stats and the skill points used in the build, then I will go through PA Chaos, Diablo Clone, and then Ubers. Timestamps and links will be in the description below. Alright, so here's the gear. We're using Heaven's Light, Double Burr, for 3 Pally skills, 20% increased attack speed, and 73% crushing blow. We're using a 220 Circlet with 10% faster run walk, 15 increased attack speed jewel, and fire res, along with some other res. A 30 all res Maras, a perfectly rolled Spirit, and a Sacred Targe. Gore Riders for 15% crushing blow, faster run walk, and some open wounds. Raven Frost for Cannot Be Frozen, 20 dex Raven. Arachnid's Mesh for hitting 75 faster cast rate. Stone of Jordan for the extra skills and mana. Enigma and a Mage Plate. And then we have some 2010 gloves and some fire res. And then we have all combat skillers. Most of them are kind of plain. We have one with a small amount of life and then 2 with faster run walk. I like having faster run walk on the build. And then for a torch, we have a 1712. I really need a better torch. A 21410 Annie. And then some resistance charms at the bottom. So poison res to make up for some res. Some life and fire res, life and fire res. And then we have some life and defense, life and defense, life and cold res, life and cold res, life and cold res. And then on swap, we have a 5/5 CTA and another Spirit. And then for the stats, we put enough into strength so that we can wear Crown of Ages. I have enough into dex to get, I don't go for max block. I think I have like 70% max block, and then the rest into vitality. You can see the res is decent. We have a little less on lightning, but lightning could use some work. And then for the skill tree, we put 1 point into these auras here. The main aura that we do run is Vigor for faster run walk. And then we have 1, 1, 1. So 1 point into might, 1 point into blessed aim, 1 point into concentration, and then we max out fanaticism for the smite side. And then for the combat, we have 1, 1, 1, 1. And then we max out Fist of the Heavens. We have 1 point into Blessed Hammer, max out Holy Bolt, and then we max out Holy Shield, 1 point into Charge, and then we put our remaining points, which is 14 into Smite. So as I level, I can put more points into Smite. And then for the Merc setup, he's using a Cure in a Demon Head for the Cleansing Aura, the faster hit recovery, and then the Poison like reduced. And then Chains of Honor for the +2 skills, 8 life leech, damage reduction, and 65 all res. And then he's using an Insight and a Cryptic Axe for the 17 medi so that I can have unlimited mana as I teleport around. And he's using Prayer, so this keeps your life up. This is basically like the battery Merc. And so this is Players 8 Chaos Sanctuary. Again, it's probably not as strong as a Hammered In, but Hammered In just was too slow and clunky. Like, you would have to wait till you spun up. I guess the only way to do it would be to exactly telestomp certain monsters that you need. But on console, you can't accurately telestomp, so Fist of the Heavens actually played nicer on console. So the Holy Bolts are doing 7 to 8k damage, so you get some decent Holy Bolt single target damage. It does work better, the Fist of Heavens, the Holy Bolts that spread off of it, if the monsters are in large packs. So as they're in small packs, you have to use the Holy Bolts. So here's a large pack and a couple of Fist of Heavens, and it levels the entire group, which is nice. So when you do these seal bosses, it's actually nice to have them in a tight block. So I know some people run an Act 5 Merc with Lawbringer, which has the Sanctuary Aura that pulses and knocks them back. You kind of don't want that. You want them to be tightly packed so that the spread of the Holy Bolts does better AoE damage. So you want them to be tightly packed. So you can see the survivability is really not an issue. I decided not to really go into max block just because I'm never really getting into melee range. I'm very much at distance, so this build is at range. Console has the auto targeting. You can't really specify which monster you want, but it actually will always hit a monster that is close and targeted. So then you get the blast of Holy Bolts off of it. So it does play well. So you can see the playstyle is kind of a faster playstyle. And even on Players 8, it's not the strongest. It's not going to be a Nova Sork, it's not going to be a Mosaic, and it's not going to beat a Javazon. So you can see here, I think I'm just hitting my Merc, and that's why that's not. So I'm just going to use Smite. So now here's the boss. Yes, versus bosses, this build is not the quickest or fastest or strongest. So I do use Smite, and Smite chops them down. 98% Crushing Blow certainly helps. It chops them down pretty quick towards the beginning. But then at the end, because you're mainly doing Crushing Blow damage, it's very small at the end. So at the end, once I'm past half, then I start to do Holy Bolts, which Holy Bolts is doing 8k damage. So that's how I finish him off. So again, not a record pace, but again, no problem. Don't need life tap or anything like that. So here's a P1 Diablo Clone. So again, using the same exact setup. I know a lot of people will say like, oh, well, you need Drax, you need open wounds, you need life tap. You don't need those. 98% Crushing Blow. His lightning hose goes straight over my head. I'm basically taking no damage because my mercenary is keeping my life pool up. So yeah, don't need open wounds. Don't need prevent monster heal or life tap. So now here is the switch that I make. I make 4 swaps for doing Ubers. So we do a Last Wish, Crown of Ages with double burr, and then we do an Exile Shield to have better life tap procs, and then T-Gods for Lightning Absorb. So here are Ubers. So the first one we go is Forgotten Sands for Duriel. Usually he's right there at the top. Now I have to go find him. I realize I can't actually kill any of these monsters with Fist of the Heavens. And now I have amp damage on me. Here he is. So here we go. Smiting away, using Fanaticism Aura now. It chops him down pretty quick, and then you see life tap went off there. My life globe is totally full. So it goes a little slow at the end of the health pool range, but it's fine. I like this setup because it's just super safe and straightforward. So you can see I'm faded after Duriel. So then we go Furnace of Pain next. Now I'll try and nail the teleport to get right over to Izzy. There's a little trick that you can get right next to him. So here's Izzy. So you can see that Crushing Blow, high level Crushing Blow. Chops him down pretty quick, and then the end of it is kind of slow. But hopefully the Merc can kick in some damage. There we go. So that's where the Merc helps you out, is the end of the damage range. And then we get a sick spawn on Lilith. So life tap proc right away. You can see all these succubi are hitting me. If they were hitting my Merc right now, under amp damage, he would be cooked. But since they're hitting me, I'm able to survive. And then after Lilith, then you can use Fist of the Heavens to clean them up. Which is nice, because some full Smiter builds you wouldn't have that, so. So we'll heal up, and then we go into Uber Trist. So since this is the first time I'm doing this, I'm going to pull them individually. I'm not going to try to take them all on and go for any speed thing. So I'm going to pull Mephisto first. Mephisto actually has the least damage reduction, so that Crushing Blow really helps here. So he should go down pretty quick. So yeah, that's no problem. And my Merc lives. And then we'll go over and we'll have Baal teleport over. So we'll fight them individually. So you stand here and wait, and Baal will teleport over. So Baal, again, pretty straightforward. Attacking fast enough that he will not regenerate. And then last is Diablo. Again, his lightning hose goes straight over your head. Making quick work here. Merc is helping out, which is nice. So hopefully the Merc can help for the end of Diablo. Boom, and there you go. So super easy, and then you do Fist of Heaven to clean up the Pit Lords here. Or Dark Lords. So we will ID this torch. So this is why I like using Last Wish. I know it's expensive, but it's just super good versus Ubers. So we'll get a torch. could use Vigor here to run faster, but... And then we'll go over to Kane to ID it. Damn. That's exactly what we want. Nice. Definitely needed an upgrade on the torch, so here we go. A 1920 Pally torch. Almost can't get any better than that. I mean, obviously a 2020 would be perfect, but dang. That's awesome. So yeah, that's it. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to do so below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.